Hi, my name is Aaron Ziebarth. I serve as the Executive Director here at Joyal, and it's exciting really to be involved in God's ministry. For me, my calling to ministry happened a long time ago. It was during the summer between 6th and 7th grade when I heard the Lord calling me into ministry. I was at a summer camp in northern Minnesota, and the interesting thing was, for me, when the Lord called me, I had two ideas as to what ministry was. It was either being a pastor or being an overseas missionary. And I did not want to be an overseas missionary. And if you want to know why, I could tell you. But my impression of overseas missionaries had to do with their presentations at our church going way too long. Their slides, and back then they really were slides, being way too boring. And I thought, heaven forbid I make anyone go through that. And so I was going to be a pastor. And since that time, people have said to me, didn't your pastor ever go long? And I've said, no, he really didn't. But it was unique. But the problem is I kind of had already had some expectations for my life. My father owned his company, and his dream was that his boys would come and work with him. And I, being the oldest son, and having a lot of gifts that would work in that area, it was expected that I would do that. My grandfather, my mom's dad, owned a company as well, and his expectation was that I would serve with him. In fact, during the summer months as I was off of school, I regularly had opportunities to work with both of them. And I can remember there was a pivotal moment one year in which I received the paperwork to serve at camp, and I needed to send this in, and I needed to have my parents' signature on it. In doing that, I had to tell them that I really wanted to serve at camp, and I was turning down opportunities to serve with my grandpa and my dad. In hindsight, now looking back, I'm certainly thankful that I followed the Lord's call. And just what was this? Why did he want me to serve in ministry? Jeremiah 29:11, 12 and 13 were significant. But in Jeremiah 11, the 29:11, the Lord says, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future." And my concern really was, as I looked at life, I wanted to see how things fit together. I wanted to see how they came together. And the best way that things started coming together as I looked toward the future was in serving the Lord. I saw his perfect plan and in being able to serve him. It seemed like, in a lot of ways, that we gave up a lot. In fact, I worked for my dad shortly after I graduated from seminary for his company for a while while Stephanie was finishing up school. And I remember going to our first full-time assignment together after that. The salary that we took was about 2.5 times less what I was making. And we went to a place that, in my grandmother's words, was not very prestigious. Now, I'm not going to say on the tape where that was. Some of you might know. But that was where the Lord called us. And in fact, and even some of my fellow seminarians said, "You're going where? Really?" Well, it was clear that that's where the Lord wanted us. And looking back, I'm glad I was there, glad that I served there. Now, having served more than 10 years at Joyal, it's been a privilege to be here. It's a privilege to serve the Lord. I want to continue to do what the Lord calls me to do. And it's exciting now, many, many years later, many years after my 6th and 7th grade summer, to see what it means to have some of these Lord's plans starting to come into fruition. The plans that he knows are good, that give us hope and a future. And my thought is, as many others consider what it means to serve the Lord, it is a step of faith. And in fact, once a man who encouraged me quite often, he said, what you're going to do is going to take courage, it's going to take faith, and it's going to take boldness. And serving the Lord in ministry takes all of these things regularly. But I can't think what life would have been like not to have taken these steps to serve him.